Hey there, TikTok, Instagram, how y'all doing? Hey, I was thinking about something. I spoke with a lot of people, I dealt with people who, you know, I used to work at a dealership back in the days, and, I had this talk about a few people. I like to marinate on my topics, but a lot of people are scared to buy vehicles, and they don't want to be in payments. They're like, I don't want no car note. I don't want to be in no payments, but they need a car. They need a vehicle. Some people credits are bad or whatever. I mean, there's special finances for everybody, but, there's, they're just scared to get into a car note, car debt, or whatever. And they're like, okay, I work a job, but then my job doesn't pay enough for a car note insurance today. Yeah, cars are expensive. Insurance are high, understood. But there's still, different ways. A lot of times we're not thinking and we're not meditating on what we need to do to live our lives, right? Things we need, we can't really get, or we afraid that we can get it. Our credit's all right, but we just scared to make the car note or whatever. But, yeah, a lot of people say, well, that's a liability. Cars are a liability. No, it's really an asset. It's just what you make it. You buy a car and it takes you wherever you need to go to make your money. That's number one, right? That car, to me, it's the most important thing in this world, because you need that vehicle to go wherever, to go make your money or whatever you need to do. But my point is, the car can also be an asset. The car can pay itself. You got all these ride shares today, Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, all that stuff. But me, for instance, I've done Uber before. I've done Lyft. Uber even cashes out the same day. And you think about it. I'm just doing this for everybody. You get off of work, and if you got 2 hours of your time, probably less than that. What I was doing, I was like, okay, I want to at least make $80. And I made $80. And then boom, I was done. If you make $80 a day on Uber, and any ride share, and you do, and I know I just did with Uber, and I was able to make $80 in at least an hour and a half, 2 hours the most. And that's it. You do that 5 days a week. That's what, $400 right there? You done made, you know what I'm saying? And you got your weekend off or whatever, That's your car note there. It depends on what vehicle you get. Even if you did that 4 weeks out of the month, that's still what, $1,600? That car right there paid itself, and that's 2 hours a day, 5 days a week, to make you money. So you shouldn't be afraid to, go out there and make that money. We just think, what if you do that, 2 hours ain't a lot. Make your $80 or whatever. I'm just giving an example. You can make more than, you can make how much you want to make. But I'm giving an example of some people who's afraid of buying a vehicle. You know what I'm saying? And, that car, it can pay itself. And then if your car is if you only paying $900 with insurance and car note, the rest can go into savings. I was just putting, your car can pay itself. You can do there's all kinds of stuff you can do with your car. But with Uber and Lyft and DoorDash and all that, especially with Uber is the only one I know that cash out the same. Right when you're done working, you can cash that money out right there. You can cash it out and you out. So, go, don't be afraid. In life we got to jump. And, if you don't jump, then you won't see what's out there. A lot of people is not really thinking. They're just more panicking. Go into the dealership. A lot of dealerships, they do the first-time buyers. They got all kinds of programs. And then a lot of times these banks, they have higher interest. Every car you buy right now, them interest is ridiculous. I ain't going to lie. But it can get you by until you get to where you need to be. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to be no big car. You get you a, something simple. You know, a compact vehicle. Could be a compact SUV. And, you know, you make that money, you know? So a lot of people just really don't, you know, because I had a lot of people just come up to me and say, hey, I just don't have, I don't like payments. You don't like payments? When are you going to pay off your car, your car insurance? Never. When are you going to pay off your mortgage or your rent? Never. When are you going to pay off your light bill? Never. When are you going to pay off your phone bill? Never. It's another bill. And the most important thing in this world is people are afraid to get is a car, a vehicle. So, you know what I'm saying? Just, you know, do your thing. You meet people. And then there's, you know, I know somebody who I told to do Uber, and they went out there, and then they ended up meeting somebody on something they really wanted to do. They couldn't find, it was a goal that they had. And just by doing Uber, they ended up meeting somebody who was in that field. And then they ended up being successful on what they were doing. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, just, you know, yeah, you're going to make your money and you meet new people out there and you talk to people while you're driving them or whatever. Some people don't like, you know, some people don't like people in their cars. And then you do, you know, you deliver the food. But I'm just giving it out there, man. You know, you go out there, get you a vehicle and then make that money. 2 hours of your time ain't going to hurt. You know, and sometime in the weekend, you might want to do 5-6 hours. You might make $300-400 that day on a Saturday. Everybody want to go to the mall and go out. I'm just, you know, for those of y'all who scared of getting a vehicle or whatever, shoot, 2 hours a day after you get off of work, go on and make that money. Get that money. You know what I'm saying? I always say get that money. Make it out here. Let's get this money. All right? But I was just giving a little tip because I keep getting people like they're scared of buying a car and getting in payments, but then we paying everything else in life. All right? So, make good choices, though. You know what I'm saying? Because bad choices will take you further than you want to go, keep you longer than you want to stay, and make you pay more than you want to pay people. Y'all take care.